Hi! It is time for my June book haul, which I'm actually splitting into two parts because I have quite a few books and I want to take my time in talking about them, so this will be part one. So recently I went on a holiday to Yorkshire and I was lucky enough to visit the Brontë parsonage where the Brontë sisters lived, and obviously I had to pick up a book. So I got Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Now, as some of you might know, I really love Jane Eyre. I knew that the sisters had written more books, but I wasn't quite familiar with the titles, and so I have to admit that part of the decision to buy this was based on the gorgeous cover. I always really love the Everyman's Library editions because they're just so beautiful. But it also has two quotes on the back that helped convince me. A still more wonderful book than Jane Eyre. Quote from George Eliot. Her finest novel. Quote from Virginia Woolf. I mean, really, how can you not be convinced? And also because I bought it at the parsonage, they stamped the book for me, so it was an extra special purchase. And the description also said that it has a revolutionary understanding of human loneliness, and it is Charlotte Bronte's last novel. Then I was sent this book by Pushkin Press. It is called In Their Shoes, Fairy Tales and Folk Tales. As you can see, it's nice and shiny and gold. And this is published to coincide with an exhibition at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, which is called Shoes, Pleasure and Pain. And I was given 2 tickets to go and visit it, so I went last weekend. Really enjoyed it. They set it up as a sort of something a little bit more sensual than I was expecting, but it's just a huge collection of the craziest shoes you can possibly imagine. And the book is a collection of stories that all center around shoes. Next, I have a proof copy of a book that I've already read because I also read this when I was on holiday, and it is Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. This is coming out on September 3rd of this year. You might know Louise O'Neill from Only Ever Yours, which won the Bookseller YA prize. This book is set in Ireland in a small town, and it's a lot about sexual consent and victim blaming. It's not a very pleasant read because the story in it is just horrifying, but it is really important, and I'll have a review of this up soon. Then I have a book from Hotkey Books, which is the publisher that I work for. This book is also coming out in September. I am extremely excited for this to finally be out, and we got finished copies in the office last week, and so I figured I would show this one off to you guys. It's called The Big Lie by Julie Mayhew, and it's this really cool sort of neon pink. I keep describing it to everyone as a contemporary Nazi England and a lesbian love story. It's a YA novel about a girl called Jessica Keller who is in the Hitler Youth. Basically, it's set in contemporary England where Germany won the war, and it really reminds me of something that would be set in North Korea. She's a really good girl, she wants to make her family proud, but the girl that lives next door, who's called Clementine, is a bit of a rebel and doesn't stick to the rules, and people have started noticing. It's such a beautiful book. It incorporates a lot of German, which I found really fun, and the characters do a lot of mixing of the German and English phrases. It has like a great historical note and so many resources in the back and a list of all the German phrases. On the back of all hotkey titles there's a little keyring that has the ingredients for the book, and the ingredients for this book are regime, protest, feminism, and desire. Because I want to share this with everyone, I have 5 copies of this to give away a long time before the book is even out. It is for viewers from the UK and Ireland. For a chance to win one of the 5 copies, just leave a comment as you would usually do, but include your Twitter username, and so I will know that all comments with the Twitter username in it will be an entry. And that way it's also easier for me to get in touch with you. Finally, I went to a Penguin Classics dinner recently with a bunch of other booktubers and a bunch of people from the Penguin Classics team. We got to chat with them and we had some lovely food, and we also got a goodie bag, and I want to show you a selection of things that we got in that goodie bag. First of all, something I had vaguely heard about but wasn't quite sure what it was, and it is The Happy Reader, which is a magazine that Penguin has put out. Each issue is an interview with a reader, and then the other half is about a book. The design of it is really lovely, the paper feels really nice. I've got the first 2 issues, so I'm gonna check those out. Then I have a Penguin Modern Classic. It is called Reading Lolita in Tehran, and it's about a group of women in Iran who come together to discuss Western books that are basically forbidden there. For example, they say Lolita, The Great Gatsby, Pride and Prejudice, and they also sort of share their own stories with the group. During the dinner we also got to talk to someone who does a lot of the sourcing for the images on the Penguin, so that the Penguin Black Classics and a lot of the other ones, which is something that I'd never really thought about, how that was, you know, someone's full-time job. And then finally I have Bonjour, Tristesse. I can't decide if I want to pronounce it the French or the English way, and on the back it says that the author is the French F. Scott Fitzgerald. One of my favorite bits of the conversation that we had about this was that I realized at some point that in like the 50s all the sex scenes had been taken out, so for this new edition they've put them back in. excellent work. It's the story of Cecile, who leads a carefree life with her widowed father and his young mistress until one hot summer in the Riviera, he decides to remarry with devastating consequences. So that is part 1 of my June book haul. I hope there were some titles that you were interested in. As usual, I will leave all the information in the description. I will talk to you guys later. Doei!